The elevator doors slid open on the 47th floor, and there she was, Elena Voss, my boss, her silhouette cutting through the sterile fluorescent hum like a blade through silk. I froze, coffee spilling over my trembling fingers, the hot liquid searing my skin as her ice-blue eyes locked onto mine, unblinking, as if she'd been waiting for this exact spill of clumsiness. In that heartbeat, I knew my facade of wide-eyed innocence had cracked, and the real game, the one where she'd been pulling strings from the shadows, had just begun. It was supposed to be simple: land the internship at Voss and Associates, the cutthroat Manhattan marketing firm that devoured ambitious grads like me, and play the part of the fresh-faced ingenue to climb the ladder. At 24, with my poli-sci degree still crisp in its frame back in my cramped Brooklyn walk-up, I figured batting my lashes and feigning ignorance about the latest algorithms would make me irresistible to someone like Elena. She was 32, a legend in her own time, divorced from some Wall Street ghost, rumored to have built the firm from a garage startup into a billion-dollar beast. Whispers in the break room painted her as untouchable, a woman who fired assistants for breathing too loudly, whose rare smiles could launch campaigns or shatter careers. But I'd seen the flicker in her gaze during my interview, that split-second linger on my lips as I stammered through my naive questions about client pitches. It was enough to hook me, to make me weave this web of pretend purity just to draw her closer. That first week blurred into a haze of copied memos and accidental brushes in the hallway, me dropping files at her feet, her stooping to help with a touch that lingered a fraction too long on my wrist. "Careful, Madison," she'd murmur, her voice like velvet over gravel, sending shivers racing up my spine. I played it up, blushing furiously, mumbling apologies about being so new to all this big city stuff. Inside, my heart hammered with the thrill of the con, the electric buzz of wanting her to see through it, to claim the bold woman I hid beneath the act. Late nights, I'd scroll her LinkedIn, those power poses in boardrooms, the subtle curve of her neck in a rare candid shot from a gala, and imagine her unraveling me, layer by naive layer. By week 3, the charade deepened. Our team was prepping the Sterling account, a high-stakes luxury brand relaunch that could make or break the quarter. Elena assigned me to her direct reports, a test, she called it, her eyes narrowing as if she already knew I'd trip spectacularly. I did, on purpose, fumbling a presentation slide during the dry run, my voice pitching high with feigned panic. "Oh God, I'm sorry, Ms. Voss, I thought that stat was right." The room tittered, but her stare pinned me, not with annoyance, but something darker, hungrier. That night, an email pinged at 11:47 p.m., Madison, my office. "Tomorrow, 7 a.m. Bring the revised deck. No pleasantries, just command." I lay awake in my sheets, pulse thundering, wondering if this was the moment she'd call my bluff, or pull me into her orbit for good. Dawn broke gray over the East River as I stepped into her corner office, the city a smudged watercolor beyond the glass. Elena was already there, perched on the edge of her desk in a charcoal dress that hugged her like a second skin, legs crossed with predatory grace. "Sit," she said, gesturing to the leather chair opposite, her tone brooking no delay. I obeyed, smoothing my skirt, modest, floral, the kind of thing a good girl from the suburbs would wear, while my mind raced with rehearsed excuses. But she didn't launch into the deck. Instead, she slid a tablet across the desk, the screen glowing with my presentation. And annotations. Dozens of them. Not corrections, insights. This pivot works because it subverts expectation. Smart. Here, lean into the vulnerability. It's authentic. My breath caught. These weren't the notes of a superior spotting errors. They were the musings of someone who dissected my every move. "You think I don't see you, Madison?" Her words sliced the air, low and laced with amusement. I blinked, channeling my best doe-eyed confusion. "Ms. Voss, I'm trying so hard, I swear. If I messed up," she laughed, a sharp, crystalline sound that echoed off the windows, leaning forward until her perfume, jasmine and steel, enveloped me. The spill in the elevator. The dropped files. That accidental glimpse of your thigh when you crossed your legs in the conference room last Tuesday. My cheeks burned, but not from shame, from the raw thrill of exposure. She'd noticed. Cataloged. Wanted. You're not naive, are you? Not even close. The confession tumbled out before I could stop it, my voice a whisper laced with defiance. I wanted you to notice me. Really notice. Not the intern, but me. Her eyes darkened, pupils dilating like storm clouds gathering. For a moment, the office shrank to just us, the hum of the HVAC fading, the distant honk of taxis a world away. She stood, rounding the desk with deliberate slowness, her fingers trailing the edge until they ghosted my jawline, tilting my chin up. Oh, I've noticed. From the second you walked into that interview, all wide eyes and bitten lips. You think you're the hunter here? Her thumb brushed my lower lip, and I gasped, the sound swallowed by the heat building between us. This was it, the unraveling. But as her mouth hovered inches from mine, her phone buzzed, shattering the spell. Sterling. Emergency call. She pulled back, composure snapping into place like armor. We'll finish this later. Don't disappoint me. The rest of the day dragged in a fevered dream of meetings and sidelong glances, her presence a magnetic pull I couldn't escape. By evening, as the team filtered out, she caught my elbow in the hall. Drinks. The lounge downstairs. Now. It wasn't a request. The bar was a sleek haven of low lights and leather booths, the kind of place where deals were sealed and secrets spilled into whiskey glasses. We claimed a corner table, the city lights painting her face in gold and shadow. One scotch for her, a hesitant white wine for me. Still playing the part, though the mask felt thinner now. Tell me about you, Madison. The real you. Not the farm girl fantasy you're peddling. I hesitated, then let it pour. The overachieving kid from Ohio, clawing my way to NYU on scholarships and grit. The string of half-hearted dates with boys who never sparked, the quiet ache for something fiercer, more consuming. Her gaze never wavered, absorbing every word like a confession in the dim. And me, she prompted, swirling her glass. What do you think you know? I risked it. Ice Queen on the outside. Fire underneath. Guarded because you've been burned. A beat, then her smile. Genuine, edged with pain. Perceptive. My ex, she took the company idea and ran. Left me rebuilding from ashes. Vulnerability cracked her facade, and in that fissure, I saw the woman, not the boss. Our knees brushed under the table, intentional now, sending sparks up my thigh. As the night deepened, conversation turned flirtatious, laced with the unspoken. Her hand found mine across the table, fingers interlacing with a possessiveness that made my breath hitch. You're dangerous, Madison Hale, she murmured, her voice husky. Playing games in my house. I leaned in, emboldened. Maybe I want to lose. The kiss came fierce and sudden, her lips claiming mine with a hunger that tasted of scotch and surrender. Tongues danced, hands roamed, the world narrowing to the salt of her skin, the soft press of her body against the booth. When we broke apart, gasping, her eyes held a warning. This isn't a game anymore. If we do this, it's all or nothing. But nothing is ever that simple in the viper pit of Voss and Associates. The next morning, rumors slithered through the cubicles like smoke, whispers of my cozy after hours with the boss, fueled by a nosy intern who'd spotted us in the lounge. Elena called an all-hands, her demeanor arctic as she dismantled the sterling pitch, her glare landing on me like shrapnel. Competence, people, or you're out. Humiliation burned, but beneath it, fear for her reputation, for the fragile thing we'd ignited. That afternoon, in the supply closet during a quick errand, she pinned me against the shelves, her mouth hot on my neck. Ignore them. This is ours. Her hand slipped under my blouse, tracing fire along my ribs, and I melted into her, whispering promises against her collarbone. Yet the cracks widened. A rival exec, Marcus Hale, no relation, thank God, started sniffing around, dropping hints about inappropriate conduct in anonymous HR tips. Elena grew distant, her touches turning to clipped emails, her nights claimed by client dinners. I drowned in doubt, replaying our stolen moments, the way she'd gasp my name in the dim of her office after hours, bodies tangled on the couch, her fingers mapping every curve like a territory she'd conquered. "I need you," she'd breathed once, vulnerable in the afterglow, her head on my chest. But power plays loomed, and I wondered if I was just a distraction, a naive indulgence she'd discard when the boardroom heat turned up. Week 6 brought the storm. The Sterling relaunch gala, a glittering affair at the plaza, where Manhattan's elite swirled in tuxes and gowns. I arrived in a borrowed emerald dress that hugged my figure, nerves jangling like loose change. Elena was resplendent in midnight silk, her arm looped through Marcus's for show. Optics, she later explained, but it gutted me. Across the ballroom, our eyes met, a silent plea in hers that mirrored my ache. I nursed a champagne flute, feigning chatter with juniors, until her text vibrated. Balcony.
Now.
The night air was crisp, stars faint against the sodium glow. She pulled me into shadow, her kiss desperate, hands fisting my dress. "He's nothing. You're everything." We made love there, against the stone balustrade, the city our indifferent witness, slow, reverent, her body arching under mine as I learned the rhythm of her sighs. But dawn brought betrayal's shadow. Monday, HR summoned me. An investigation, sparked by Marcus's planted evidence, blurry lounge photos, twisted to imply coercion. Elena stormed the meeting, her fury a tempest. "This is bullshit. She's brilliant, and if you touch her, you touch me." The board waffled, but the damage festered, colleagues' stares like acid. My naive act shattered into outright suspicion. Nights blurred into tear-streaked calls with Elena, her voice cracking over the line. "I watched you from day one, Madison. Not to trap you, to protect this. Us." Her confession undid me. Security cams in the office, not for spying, but because after her ex's theft, trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. She'd seen my real self, the late-night revisions on the deck, the bold sketches I'd hidden, and fallen for that fire, not the facade. The climax erupted mid-pitch to Sterling's board. Marcus ambushed with concerns, his smirk a dagger. I stood, heart pounding, and dropped the bomb. Not defense, but counterstrike. I'd uncovered his embezzlement, skimming ad fees, buried in falsified reports I'd naively flagged in my files. The room gasped as I projected the evidence, Elena's hand finding mine under the table, a silent anchor. Marcus crumbled, fired on the spot, the deal sealing with applause that tasted like vindication. In the aftermath, Elena pulled me into her office, locking the door.
"You didn't need the act.
You were always enough." Our lovemaking was tender, unhurried, lips tracing collarbones, fingers weaving through hair, bodies sinking in a symphony of rediscovered trust. Yet the real test lingered. Her world demanded perfection, and I was the wild card. Weeks turned to months, our relationship a clandestine ballet, stolen weekends in the Hamptons, where she'd shed her armor, laughing as I taught her to bake lopsided cookies, quiet evenings in my apartment, her head in my lap as I read poetry, her fingers drumming soft rhythms on my thigh. But the board murmured, investors balked at distractions. Elena proposed a choice: go public, risk the firm, or fade into shadows. I chose truth. At the annual summit, she introduced me, not as intern but partner. Madison Hale, the woman who saved us. And the one who owns my heart. Gasps rippled, but applause followed, a tide turning. In the end, as we stood on that same 47th floor balcony a year later, rings glinting on our fingers, simple gold bands etched with watched and wanted, I realized the real hook wasn't the spill or the stare. It was her, seeing me whole, and me daring to be seen. Love, in all its messy, fierce glory, isn't about pretending. It's about the watchfulness that turns strangers into souls entwined, proving that even in the coldest towers, warmth can rewrite the skyline. The rain-slicked streets of Manhattan gleamed like veins of silver under the sodium lamps as Elena and I slipped from the summit, her hand warm in mine despite the autumn chill. We'd done it, outed ourselves to the world of Voss and Associates, and the sky hadn't fallen. But as we ducked into a cab, her phone lit up with a barrage of texts, board members demanding clarifications, clients coyly inquiring about stability. She silenced it with a flick, pulling me close. Let them stew. Tonight's ours. Her lips brushed my temple, a promise sealed in the humid fog of the back seat. Yet doubt gnawed at me, a quiet undercurrent to the euphoria. I'd upended her empire for us. What if the cost was too steep? Back at her penthouse overlooking Central Park, the city sprawled below like a conquered map. Elena poured us scotch, neat, no ice, her movements fluid, unhurried. To us, she toasted, clinking glasses, her eyes holding that predatory gleam I'd first mistaken for disdain. We sank into the sectional, legs tangled, the fire crackling and the hearth casting shadows that danced across her skin. Conversation meandered from the summit's chaos to dreams unspoken, her whisper of starting a foundation for queer entrepreneurs, my tentative pitch for a creative lab where naive ideas like mine could flourish, without facades. Her laughter bubbled low, fingers tracing lazy circles on my knee. You were never naive, love. Just brilliantly disguised. As the scotch warmed my veins, I confessed the fear that had shadowed me since the gala. What if they push you out? Because of me? Her expression softened, the ice queen melting into the woman who'd traced my scars, literal and not, in the quiet hours. She cupped my face, thumb stroking my cheekbone. Then we build something new. Together. I've watched empires crumble. Losing you would be the only ruin I couldn't survive. The kiss that followed was slow, exploratory, tongues savoring the peat smoke on each other's breath, hands mapping familiar territories with renewed reverence. She tasted like victory and vulnerability, her body yielding beneath mine as we migrated to the bedroom, shedding clothes like old skins. There, in the king-sized expanse of Egyptian cotton, we rediscovered each other. Elena's hands, usually so commanding in boardrooms, trembled slightly as they unlaced my blouse, her lips following the path of exposed skin, nipping at my collarbone, soothing with open-mouthed kisses. I arched into her, whispering her name like a prayer, my fingers threading through her short hair, guiding her lower. She obliged, her mouth ablaze on my breasts, then trailing fire down my abdomen, until she settled between my thighs. The first stroke of her tongue drew a gasp from me, raw and unrestrained, my hips bucking as she worked me with expert precision, circles and flicks that built like a crescendo, her eyes locked on mine, watching every flutter, every plea. Let go, she murmured against my core, the vibrations sending shockwaves. I shattered, crying out her name, waves crashing until I pulled her up, tasting myself on her lips in a kiss that blurred the line between lover and lifeline. We lay spent, limbs entwined, her head on my chest as rain pattered the floor-to-ceiling windows. I love you, I said, the words simple, profound in their weight. She lifted her head, blue eyes shimmering. And I you, from the shadows, before you even knew. Sleep claimed us gently, but dawn brought the reckoning. A 6 a.m. call from the chairman, his voice tinny through the speaker. Elena, we need to talk. Privately. She dressed in silence, her jaw set, while I brewed coffee, hands shaking. Stay here, she commanded softly, kissing me fierce before vanishing into the elevator. Hours stretched into agony. I paced the marble floors, scrolling news feeds for scandals that hadn't broken yet. By noon, she returned, face ashen, dropping her bag with a thud. They want me to step down.
Or
Distance myself. From you. The words landed like punches, stealing my breath.
what?
She collapsed beside me, burying her face in my neck. It's not just optics. Marcus's allies are circling, digging up old dirt on my divorce, twisting it into instability. They think a public relationship makes me weak. Rage boiled in me, hot and righteous. Fuck them. We fight. But her sigh was weary, the weight of years pressing down. It's not that simple, Madison. This firm is my blood. The argument that followed was our first real fracture, voices rising, accusations flying like shrapnel. You watched me, orchestrated this. Did you ever think of the fallout? I hurled, tears stinging. She recoiled, hurt flashing. I thought you were worth it. Still do. We parted in silence, her to a strategy session, me to the streets, wandering Soho's galleries until my feet ached, mind replaying every stolen glance, every whispered vow. Was this the cost of authenticity? Loving her had stripped my pretenses, but now it threatened to strip her throne. That evening, reconciliation came in fragments, a text, rooftop. Please. The penthouse terrace was strung with fairy lights, a blanket spread with takeout from our favorite Thai spot, candles flickering against the dusk. She stood vulnerable in jeans and a cashmere sweater, no armor. I told them no.
Resign?
Not without you by my side. My heart clenched. But the firm. She pulled me down, feeding me pad thai with chopsticks, her touch gentle. We'll pivot. Co-lead. Show them strength in us. Laughter bubbled as Saw stripped, her tongue darting to catch it on my chin, sparking heat anew. The night unfolded in lazy exploration, kisses under the stars, her straddling me on the blanket, grinding slow as thunder rumbled distant. I flipped her beneath me, hands pinning her wrists, mouth devouring her neck, eliciting moans that drown the city hum. We peaked together, bodies slick, souls sinking in the aftershocks. But threats loomed larger. Whispers turned to leaks, a tabloid piece hinting at Voss's secret affair, photos from the gala grainy but damning. Protests erupted outside the office, queer activists cheering our bravery, conservatives picketing with signs decrying corporate wokeness. Elena fortified, her days a blur of legal calls and PR spins, while I buried myself in the creative lab pitch, channeling fury into vision boards of inclusive campaigns. One night, exhaustion claimed her mid-sentence, head lolling on my shoulder during a strategy huddle. I carried her to bed, undressing her with care, tracing the tension knots in her back with oiled thumbs until she sighed awake. My savior, she murmured, pulling me atop her. Our lovemaking was healing, soft caresses turning urgent, her legs wrapping my waist as I thrust with a strap we'd hidden away, her nails raking my back in ecstasy. Don't leave me, she gasped, and I promised eternity in the arch of her spine. The board's ultimatum arrived via courier, step down or face a vote. Elena rallied allies, but fractures showed. Old friends hedging, loyalty thinning. I uncovered the linchpin, a mole in accounting, feeding Marcus intel. Confronting them in a dim-lit bar, recorder hidden, I extracted a confession that cracked the conspiracy wide. Evidence in hand, Elena stormed the next meeting, projecting the tape as jaws dropped. This ends now. Vindication surged, but so did the toll. Her hands shook as she signed off on the traitor's dismissal, collapsing into me later, sobs racking her frame. I almost lost everything. Because I couldn't lose you. I held her through the night, whispering affirmations, our bodies curling protective. Rebuilding began tentatively. Co-CEO titles, a joint press release framing our love as the firm's new era of authenticity. Skeptics grumbled, but clients flocked, drawn to the raw humanity in our pitches. Personally, we bloomed. Lazy Sundays in bed, her teaching me chess. I lost spectacularly, winning kisses instead, me dragging her to indie films where we'd sneak touches in the dark. One crisp October eve, as leaves swirled in the park below, she dropped to one knee on our terrace, ringbox trembling. Madison, you've seen through me, past the watchfulness to the woman afraid to be seen. Marry me? Tears blurred my yes, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of forever. Yet shadows lingered. A final twist. Elena's ex resurfaced, not for revenge, but redemption. Offering partnership in the foundation, her eyes haunted by parallel regrets. We met in neutral ground, a cafe in the village, tensions thick as fog. I was wrong, she admitted, voice cracking. Forgiveness wasn't easy, but in granting it, Elena shed her last armor, emerging lighter. Our wedding was intimate. Rooftop vows under string lights, Madison in ivory lace, Elena in tailored white, rings exchanged amid cheers from chosen family. As we danced to a slow jazz rendition, her whisper in my ear, I pretended to be cold to protect my heart. You thought it. And in her arms, I knew. Love's true watchfulness isn't surveillance. It's the gentle guard of two souls, navigating storms to sunnier skies. Winter blanketed Manhattan in a hush of snow, transforming the penthouse into a cocoon of flannel sheets and spiced cider as Elena and I navigated the honeymoon phase of our public union. The firm thrived under our dual helm, campaigns bolder, infused with the unapologetic edge of our story, but domestic bliss brought its own tempests. Morning started with her brewing espresso strong enough to wake the dead, while I fumbled pancakes, flour dusting my nose like confectioner's sugar. She'd swipe it away with a kiss murmuring, "My messy genius," before vanishing into calls. Afternoons bled into strategy sessions where I'd catch her staring, not at spreadsheets, but at me. That watchful gaze now soft with adoration, a far cry from the predatory scan of our early days. But cracks in our idyll appeared subtly. Her ex-wife, Lila, now a tentative ally in the foundation, stirred old jealousies. Lila's visits to the office, professional, clipped, left Elena withdrawn, picking at lunches with a fork like it offended her. One evening, as flurries danced outside, I confronted her over takeout lo mein. Talk to me. She's not a threat. Elena's fork clattered, eyes flashing. It's not her. It's me, remembering how I let her in, only to watch her gut everything. Vulnerability cracked her voice, and I pulled her into my lap, hands soothing her back. I'm not her, and you're not that woman anymore. Our reconciliation was fiery, her straddling me on the kitchen island, skirt hiked, my hands gripping her hips as she rode the wave of release, gasps mingling with confessions. I trust you, she panted, forehead to mine. More than the empire. Spring thawed the city, and with it, new challenges. A hostile takeover bid from a rival conglomerate, whispers of distractions, in the press painting our marriage as the firm's Achilles heel. Elena armored up, late nights in the study poring over defenses, while I rallied creatives for counter-campaigns, ads celebrating resilience, subtly nodding to our journey. Exhaustion etched lines around her eyes, and one midnight, finding her slumped over ledgers, I coaxed her to bed with a trail of kisses. Let me take care of you, I whispered, undressing her slowly, mouth worshipping every inch, nipping thighs, laving the sensitive hollow of her hip until she arched, begging. I brought her to the edge with fingers and tongue, drawing out her pleasure like a symphony, her cries echoing our unbreakable bond. The bid escalated into a boardroom war, proxies clashing in a frenzy of motions and maneuvers. Marcus, slithering back as a consultant for the aggressors, cornered me in the lobby one gray afternoon. You think you're safe? Elle's softness will be her downfall. His leer ignited fury. I shoved the dossier of his past frauds into his chest. Touch her world, and yours burns. He slunk away, but the threat lingered, manifesting in leaked emails, twisted snippets of our private texts painted as unprofessional dalliances. Public backlash surged, headlines screaming queer power couple sinks boss. Elena faltered, second-guessing our openness. Maybe we were naive, she admitted over wine, voice small. I refused to let doubt win. Rallying our network, queer influencers, loyal clients, we launched a viral counteroffensive. Raw videos of employees sharing stories of authenticity, capped with Elena and me, hands clasped, declaring, "Love isn't a liability, it's our strength." Views exploded, shares rippling like wildfire, turning the tide. The bidders retreated, tails tucked, and in the victory haze, Elena swept me into a dance in the emptying boardroom, waltzing to phantom music. "You saved us again," she breathed, dipping me low, her kiss a seal on our triumph. That night, we celebrated carnally, her tying my wrists with silk scarves, teasing with feathers and ice until I writhed, then granting mercy with deliberate thrusts, our moans a duet of dominance and devotion. Summer scorched the pavements, and with stability restored, we turned to legacy, the Foundation's launch gala, a glittering affair at MoMA where donors mingled with activists. Lila attended, her presence a test Elena passed with grace, a shared toast, no undercurrents. But midway through speeches, a bomb dropped, an anonymous donor pledge, massive, but conditional on Elena's personal discretion. Subtext clear: closet the marriage or forfeit millions. Elena's face paled, but fire kindled in her eyes. No deal. The room held its breath as she addressed the crowd. "We've hidden too long. This foundation stands for visibility, not shadows." Cheers erupted, the pledge withdrawn, but truer allies stepped up, doubling the fund. In the afterglow, on a whim, we escaped to Fire Island, a queer haven of dunes and bonfires. Days blurred into sun-soaked idols, her teaching me to surf, waves crashing as she steadied me, laughter bubbling, nights under stars, bodies oiled and entwined on the beach, her fingers painting patterns on my skin before delving deeper, drawing gasps that mingled with the tide. "You're my horizon," she whispered during one sunset tryst, her mouth between my legs, lapping slow as the sun dipped, my climax crashing like surf. Vulnerability peaked there. She confessed childhood closets, a mother's rejection that forged her walls. I held her through tears, promising, "We'll build walls of glass, transparent, unbreakable." Fall heralded growth. The lab opened, buzzing with young talents I'd mentored, their naive sparks igniting innovations. Elena mentored too, her cold facade a myth now, replaced by encouraging nods. But personal storms brewed, a routine checkup revealing her high-stress markers, doctor's orders for sabbatical. "Go alone," I teased, packing her bag. "Never." We jetted to Tuscany, villas and vineyards abalm. Wandering olive groves, she proposed expanding the family, not blood, but chosen, fostering queer youth. Watch them grow, like you watched me. Emotion choked me. Our lovemaking that eve was sacred, missionary deep, eyes locked, her releasing inside me with a strap, symbolizing union profound. Returning invigorated, we dove into applications, hearts full. Yet fate twisted. A teen, Alex, arrived, 17, fierce and fractured, her story echoing our early deceptions. Integrating her strained us. Late-night crises, Elena's patience fraying. One explosive row, Alex stormed out, Elena crumbling. "What if I'm not enough?" I pulled her close, reminding, "You're everything. To me, to her." We found Alex at a shelter, reconciliation tearful. Family knit tighter, our love the warp and weft. Winter circled again, anniversary dawning. On our terrace, snow falling soft, Elena blindfolded me, leading to a pavilion strung with lights. Removing the cloth revealed our circle, friends, Lila, Alex, toasting us. "1 year of you," she said, renewing vows. The night dissolved into joy, but later, alone, she knelt anew. "Forever." Yes tumbled out, ring stacking. In bed, celebration peaked, mutual, fervent, her on all fours as I claimed her from behind, hands in hair, bodies slapping in rhythm until ecstasy bound us. Through trials, we'd forged not just survival, but thriving, a testament that love, watched and nurtured, blooms eternal, turning cold towers to warm homes. The second anniversary crept up like a gentle fog over the Hudson, but this time, it carried undercurrents of change. Alex had settled into our lives like a wildflower in cracked concrete, her sarcasm a shield, her art a window to the soul she'd hidden from foster system's grind. Elena doted, her once guarded heart now an open book, reading bedtime stories with dramatic flair that left us all in stitches. Mornings, I'd find them huddled over sketches, Elena's arm around the teen's shoulders, whispering encouragement.
See?
That's your power, she'd say, pointing to a bold line. Watching them, my chest ached with fullness. This family we'd pieced from shards, stronger for the breaks. Yet the firm demanded its pound, a transatlantic expansion, pitches in London and Berlin that pulled Elena away for weeks. I helmed the home front, juggling lab deadlines and Alex's school drama. A bully's slur scrawled on her locker, igniting Mama Bear rage. "We'll sue," Elena growled over video call, her hotel room a sterile blur behind her. "No. Teach her resilience," I countered, and we brainstormed together, pixels bridging oceans. Her return was a whirlwind of airport reunion, kisses stolen in the arrival's haze, hands frantic under coats as we tumbled into the limo. "Miss this," she groaned, fingers slipping beneath my waistband, stroking me to a hushed climax amid honking traffic. Home. We devoured each other, shower steam cloaking our frenzy, her back against tiles as I knelt, tongue delving until her knees buckled, cries echoing off marble. Expansion talks soured in Berlin. A partner, Klaus, with old-world views, balked at our personal branding, hinting at buyouts that sidelined me. Elena's reports crackled with tension, her voice tight. "He's testing me." I flew out unannounced, striding into the conference like a storm. "Our brand is us, united." Klaus blanched, the deal sealing with my pitch's fire. Elena's gratitude that night was molten, hotel suite aglow, her blindfolding me with her tie, teasing with silk and whispers until I begged, then mounting me, grinding slow, our releases sinking like clockwork hearts. Back stateside, Alex's milestones marked our rhythm. Her first gallery show, canvases raw with queer fury and fragile hope. We attended en masse, Elena's arm linked with mine, pride radiating. But post-show, a call shattered the high, Lila, voice quavering. "Cancer. Stage 3. Elena froze, phone slipping. "No." We rushed to her bedside, the woman who'd once been enemy, now frail ally. Holding vigil, Elena confessed regrets over tea-stained monitors. "I hated you for so long." Lila's hand squeezed hers. "Hate forged you. Love freed you." Her passing weeks later was quiet, a service blending worlds, queer anthems mingling with elegies. Elena grieved fierce, nights curled fetal, my body her anchor. "Hold me tighter," she'd plead, and I'd oblige, fingers circling her clit slow, building to catharsis where tears mingled with moans, release a balm on sorrow. Grief's wake brought reinvention. Channeling Lila's memory, we amplified the foundation, scholarships in her name for artists like Alex. The lab flourished, my naive, hires now leads, their campaigns earning Clios. Elena beamed at awards, her speech weaving our tale. From watched shadows to shared light. Pride swelled, but privately, whispers of burnout haunted. Her doctor's note urging therapy. For us, I urged, joining sessions where we unpacked facades. My Ohio girl act as shield against rejection, her coldness a fortress post-betrayal. Vulnerability bonded us deeper, sessions ending in tender aftercare, baths drawn with Epsom, massages turning erotic, her oiled body under mine, slow rocks to mutual peaks. Summer beckoned with a family road trip, cross-country in a rented RV, Alex shotgun, Elena navigating with GPS fails that dissolved us in laughter. Badlands' vastness mirrored our growth. Vegas neons sparked silly bets, her winning a dance-off that led to a motel quickie, door barely shut, her against the wall, my hand muffling her cries as fingers plunged. Yosemite's trails tested us, Alex opening about her first crush, a girl from art class, Elena's advice gentle. Be the bold one. like Madison was for me. Tears pricked. Campfire side. We shared stories, Esmores sticky on fingers that later explored in our tent, Elena's mouth on my breast, quiet gasps under stars. Fall's harvest brought harvest of joys. Alex's acceptance to RSD, tearful goodbyes at dorms. Empty nest loomed, but we filled it with us. Cooking classes where sauces splattered, leading to counter romps, pottery wheels, clay-smeared kisses evolving to slippery unions. One eve, spinning on the wheel, her hands guided mine, then wandered, fingers dipping low. "Create with me," she breathed, and we did. Orgasm clang our palms, art born of ecstasy. Winter's solstice gala tested anew, a donor scandal, funds embezzled, echoing Marcus's ghost. Elena's fury was arctic, but I tempered. Investigate, don't incinerate. We traced the trail to an insider, confrontation yielding confession and restitution. Victory's edge honed us. Post-gala, limo ride home, a haze of champagne and caresses, her head in my lap, tongue teasing through lace until I shattered, city lights blurring. Anniversary 3 dawned with surprise. Elena's itinerary for Paris, Eiffel whispers, sane cruises. But en route, turbulence, literal and not, a delayed flight stranding us in Lisbon. Wandering Alfama's alleys, Fathu's lament stirring souls, we danced impromptu, her body flushed to mine. Hotel balcony that night, overlooking Tagus, we made love under moon, her on knees, my strap harnessed, thrusting deep as waves lapped distant, her pleas a symphony. Paris healed the rest. Louvre lingers, her hand in mine past winged victory. Montmartre picnics, grapes fed lip to lip. Sacré-Cœur summit, she knelt amid tourists. Eternity, Madison? Second yes, but deeper. Vows renewed in a chapel nook, priest bemused. Back home, life layered richer. Alex's visits with girlfriend in tow. Double dates, awkward then warm. Foundation galas where our story inspired toasts. Through it, Elena's watchfulness evolved, from vigilant to visionary, seeing not just me, but futures woven. Love, we'd learned, isn't pretense or possession, but partnership, watching each other's ascents, hands clasped in the climb, hearts full in the vista. Spring's bloom in year 4 carried pollen of possibility, the city awakening with cherry blossoms that mirrored the tentative flutters in my belly, unconfirmed, but whispered hopes over breakfasts. Elena noticed first, her fork pausing mid-bite. Madison? Her eyes, sharp as ever, scanned my face, then dropped lower, to the subtle curve I'd hidden under loose knits. We weren't trying, not actively. Years of marriage, careers cresting, but nature's surprise gift after fertility consult we'd half-joked about. Could it be? She breathed, hand hovering before cupping my abdomen. Joy and terror collided. We confirmed with a stick in the penthouse bath, 2 pink lines sealing fate. Her whoop echoed, pulling me into a spin, kisses raining. Our miracle. But miracles demand miracles of adjustment. Elena, ever the planner, dove into crib catalogs and Dr. Hunt's, her protectiveness bordering mania, insisting on car service to meetings, vetoing my beloved spin class. Too risky, she'd insist, voice brooking no argument. Irritation simmered. I loved her vigilance, but it chafed my independence. I'm pregnant, not porcelain. I snapped one eve over quinoa bowls, fork clattering. Hurt flickered in her eyes. I watched you build empires. Now I watch over our family. The fight diffused in tears, makeup slow, her apologies murmured against my neck, hands gentle on my waist, lips trailing to soothe the swell. Lovemaking adapted tender. Me atop, her fingers linking mine, slow grinds building to shared sighs, her watching my face with awe as pleasure crested. Alex, now 21 and thriving at RASD, squealed over FaceTime, plotting godparent duties. The firm adapted too, maternity leave announced with fanfare, Elena co-parenting pitches from home. But external gales howled, a recession whisper, clients tightening belts, our bold campaign scrutinized as frivolous. Board pressures mounted, Elena's nights lengthening, her hand often on my belly during calls, a talisman. One storm-lashed night, contractions, false alarms, Braxton Hicks, but panic etched her face. "I can't lose this," she confessed, curled beside me post-doctor reassurance. "Or you." Vulnerability cracked. I held her, whispering, "We're unbreakable." Dawn found us entwined, her mouth exploring my changed body, kisses on stretch marks, tongue laving breasts tender with milk, drawing gasps that eased fears into ecstasy. Summer swelled with my belly, heat waves mirroring inner fire. We escaped to the Cape, salt air and lobster rolls a-bomb. Beach walks, her arms supportive, turned confessional, dreams of teaching our child chess by the waves, painting with Alex's flair. But a scare, spotting blood, sent us rushing to our hearts and throats. Viable, the ultrasound hummed, tiny heartbeat a thunderclap. Relief wept out, hospital bed, Elena's head on my lap, fingers tracing the monitor's blip. Our fighter. Homebound rest chafed, but she entertained, story readings with voices, massages that strayed sensual, her oiled hands on thighs parting for tongue's gentle lap, climaxes soft as sea foam. Fall's harvest included harvest moons and baby kicks, Elena's palm pressed to flutters, eyes misting. "She knows you already." We debated names, Alara for stars, or Vivian for life. Foundation events adapted, my bump a badge of hope, speeches weaving family into mission. But career tempests raged, a key client defected, citing unstable leadership, code for our personal life. Elena's resolve hardened. We countered with a pivot, sustainable lines, eco-queer branding that won back loyalty and more. Victory bash at home, Alex toasting with sparkling cider, led to family pylon, laughter dissolving into Elena, and I slipping away, nursery half-built, her backing me against changing table, skirt hiked for quick, desperate thrusts, strap forgotten, fingers sufficing in hushed urgency. Labor hit like Atlantic gale, pre-dawn waters breaking on penthouse tiles. Elena's calm cracked, pacing ER halls, her hand crushing mine through contractions. "Breathe with me," she coached, voice steadying us both. Hours blurred in pain and pushes, her whispers anchoring. "You're fierce. Like the day I saw you." Dawn's cry pierced, our daughter, Riley Vosshale, tiny fists waving defiance. Elena cut the cord, tears streaming, cradling her first. Perfect. In recovery's haze, she placed Riley on my chest, our family knit in skin-to-skin warmth. Early months were delirium. Feedings at 3 a.m., Elena tag-teaming diapers with bleary efficiency, her lullabies off-key but earnest. Sleepless nights bonded us deeper. Post-nursing, Riley dozing, Elena's mouth on my neck, hands wandering to reignite sparks dimmed by fatigue. "Still want you," she'd murmur, fingers circling slow, building to quiet peaks that left us gasping, sated. Alex visited often, Auntie Judy's gleeful, her sketches now including cherubic portraits. Winter's chill brought first holidays, tree trimming with Riley in a carrier, ornaments dangling as Elena spun us in waltz. But shadows crept, postpartum blues nipping my heels, doubts whispering inadequacy. Elena watched closer, therapy resuming, her presence a shield. "You're supermom," she'd affirm, drawing baths where bubbles concealed caresses, her tongue between legs a tonic for soul-weary bones. Spring circled, Riley's coos filling voids. Firm rebounded, Elena's sabbatical yielding fresh vision, hybrid models blending work and wonder. One park outing, Riley gurgling on blanket, Elena knelt amid daisies. "You gave me everything. Marry me again?" Laughter bubbled. Third yes, ceremony lakeside, Riley flower girl in tiny frock. Through it, parenthood's watchfulness echoed our loves, vigilant, loving, turning chaos to cherished chapters. Riley's eyes, blue like her mama's, held futures unwatched but promised, a world where pretending yields to presence, cold melts to communal fire. Riley's first birthday dawned sticky with July humidity, the penthouse alive with balloons bobbing like drunken fireflies and the scent of vanilla cake wafting from the kitchen. Elena, sleeves rolled to elbows, iced letters with toddler precision. One, wobbly but proud, while I chased our daughter on all fours, her giggles a melody that drowned Manhattan's din. Alex arrived with armfuls of art supplies, her girlfriend Mia in tow, turning the living room into a finger paint war zone. Auntie Lex. Riley squealed, smearing blue across Elena's cheek. Our matriarch laughed, uncharacteristic belly deep, pulling me into a flower-dusted kiss. Look what we made, she whispered, eyes on our chaos. In that moment, the empire outside faded. This was our true boardroom, deals sealed in crayon and cream. But idols invite intruders. Post-party cleanup unearthed a letter, certified, ominous, from Lila's estate lawyers. Unbeknownst to us, she'd willed a parcel, a seaside cottage in Maine, deeded jointly. For the family you built without me, the note read, hand trembling on paper. Elena's face shuddered, grief's ghost resurfacing. She knew. We packed for a weekend escape, Riley strapped in car seat, babbling at passing trucks. The drive north unspooled tensions, Elena's white-knuckled grip on wheel, my hand on her thigh a silent soothe. Cottage greeted with salt-kissed air, weathered shingles hugging dunes. Inside, ghosts lingered, Lila's bookshelves, photos faded but fond. Exploration turned therapeutic, beachcombing with Riley splashing shallows, Elena unearthing shells like buried treasures. Evenings by fire pit, Esmore's sticky, stories flowed. Lila's quirks, regrets recast as lessons. One dusk, as waves lapped, Elena pulled me to the porch swing, Riley napping inside. This place, it's healing. Her kiss started soft, evolving urgent, hands under sundress, fingers delving as swing creaked rhythm, my gasps muffled in her neck. Climax crested with sunset, body shuddering in sync, release the exorcism of old wounds. Return invigorated, but city claws beckoned. A merger proposal from a European giant, promising scale but swallowing autonomy. Elena dove in, war rooms resuming, her fire rekindled. I balanced lab expansions, Riley's daycare runs, but cracks showed, missed bedtimes, Elena's texts curt with fatigue. Date night. I proposed, booking our old lounge. Candlelight softened her edges, scotch loosening tongues. I miss us, I admitted, foot hooking hers under table. Her smile wicked. Then let's reclaim. Limo home, partitions up, her mouth on my core, tongue masterful amid jolts, my release soaking leather as city blurred. Merger talks heated, counterparts pushy, undervaluing our queer-inclusive ethos. Elena held firm, but stress etched, migraines pulsing, sleep fractured. I intervened with spa days, but one night, collapse, her crumpling mid-call, head in hands. Too much. I canceled meetings, cocooning us, tea steeped chamomile, massages deep. Lean on me, I urged, hands wandering, oil-slick caresses turning to fingers inside her, slow pumps drawing moans that eased tensions not. You're my strength, she gasped, peeking with a sob. Alex's crisis interrupted. Breakup with Mia, heart shattered at 23. She crashed with us, Riley's innocence a poultice. Nights, we'd huddle. Hot cocoa, Elena's tales of her own fractures. Love rebounds, she promised, modeling with me. Public affection, a park kiss that left Alex smirking. Foundation grew, Alex curating exhibits, her healing art channeling pain to power. Fall foliage framed Riley's first steps, wobbly toward Elena's open arms, our cheers a chorus. Firm celebrated too, merger next, organic growth charted. Gala toast, Elena dedicating to women who watch and lift. Afterparty private, penthouse, Riley Abed, us in lingerie slow dancing to Coltrane. Dance dissolved to divan, her strapping on, entering me prone, thrusts measured, whispers of forever as we crested together, sweat slick and sated. Winter whispered expansions, Riley's babble evolving words, Mama E, melting us. But health scare loomed, Elena's annuals flagging anomalies, biopsies pending. Waiting rooms blurred days, my hand her lifeline. Benign, praise be, but lesson etched, fragility's undercurrent. Recovery meant recalibration, delegation, therapy tandem. Sessions unearthed joys. Roleplay nods to our origin, her bossing me in silk restraints, teasing to edge before granting release with mouth divine. Spring's renewal included renewal vows, main cottage, intimate circle, Riley tossing petals. Vows exchanged on beach, waves applauding. From pretense to presence, I choose you. Reception bonfire, dances silly, night ceiling in master suite, mirrors reflecting our tangle, her on back, legs wide as I devoured, then flipped, strap deep, rhythms tidal till dawn. Summer circuits closed, family cruise, Caribbean calms. Riley splashes, Elena's snorkel, awe, look, Madison. Worlds beneath. Evenings deckside, stars witnesses to lovemaking, lounger creaking, her riding reverse, my hands on breasts, peaks sinking with ship's sway. Through years weave, families' fabric strengthened, watching not to control, but celebrate, love's drama yielding to devotion's quiet drama, chapters rich with Riley's light. Riley's toddler tyranny reigned in year 5, her no, a battle cry echoing through the penthouse as she asserted dominion over sippy cups and storytime selections. Elena, once the unflappable CEO, crumbled to whims, negotiating peace treaties over goldfish crackers, her boardroom gravitas traded for tickle wars on the rug. I'd catch her mid-meeting, phone propped, making faces at the camera while Riley banged blocks. Guilty, she'd shrug, unrepentant, pulling me into post-call embraces that lingered, hands cupping my rear. You make this chaos bearable. Our mornings tangled in sheets, Riley's monitor humming soft breaths, Elena's fingers tracing my spine before dipping lower, waking me with lazy circles that built to breathy mornings, her name a mantra on my lips. But expansion siren sang, foundations scaling global, invites to TED stages and UN panels. Elena jetted to Geneva, me helming stateside with Riley in tow, daycare dashes between keynotes. Jet lag's toll hit on her return, arguments over unpacked bags, my exhaustion flaring. You vanish, then expect seamlessness. Her retort stung. I'm building our legacy. Silence iced the air. Makeup brewed slow, apologies over wine, her kneeling to kiss my feet, trailing up thighs to core, tongue apologetic, drawing forgiveness in waves of pleasure. Never doubt, she vowed, rising to claim with fingers deep, our rhythm mending fractures. Alex's ascent paralleled. Gallery solo show, themes of found family resonating. Opening night, Riley on hip, we toasted her, Elena's speech weaving pride. From shadows to spotlights, you've illuminated us. Post-reception, home haze of champagne led to nursery nook tryst, door cracked, thrill of Riley's nap fueling urgency, Elena's hand over my mouth as she thrust from behind, stifled moans a secret symphony. Firm-faced headwinds, cyber breach, client data compromised, headlines howling, boss vulnerability. Elena's warpath scorched, nights forensic with IT, her fury ablaze. I tempered with walks, Riley's wagon pulling us to park benches where confessions spilled. Fear failure taints you. Her vulnerability cracked, bench side, hidden by willows, her hand slipped skirt, fingers stroking discreet, climax hushed as joggers passed, adrenaline sharpening release. Breach fallout birthed fortification. Ethical AI audits, transparency campaigns turning lemons to laurels. Board applauded, but personal toll lingered. Elena's insomnia, pills rattled bedside. I intervened with retreats. Berkshire's cabin, Riley romping leaves. Evening's hearthside, her head in lap. I read poetry, hands massaging temples south, oil easing to breasts, nipples pebbling under thumbs. Heal me, she sighed, parting legs for tongue's balm, her peak a sigh of surrender. Riley's preschool plunge marked milestones, backpack tiny, tears mine as drop-off loomed. Elena's pep talk steadied. She's our spark, let fly. Classroom goodbyes tugged heartstrings, but afternoons bloomed free. Lab collaborations, date lunches where hands linked under tables, footsies sparking homeward heat. One cafe escape. Ali Dieter pressed her against brick, my knee-parting thighs, fingers quick through lace to circle, her bite on shoulder muffling gasp as she came, eyes locked fierce. Fall festivals framed family. Pumpkin patches, Riley's face painted cat-whiskered, Elena's and Jaime's chases dissolving to stolen kisses behind cornstalks, hands groping playful. Halloween haunt, costumed as pirates, ours and treats, led to bedtime raids, her plundering my cabin with strap advent, positions novel. Me bent over dresser, mirror capturing thrusts, her grunts primal till we collapsed, treasure claimed. Winter's whiteout brought introspection, holiday cards scripted joint, foundation's impact report glowing, scholarship seeded, lives lifted. But Elena's epiphany struck carol singing, more than metrics time. She delegated bold, Friday's sacred family. Sabbatical mini, aspen snow, Riley's sled whoops, our après-ski soaks turning steamy, bubbles concealing submerged strokes, her fingers underwater curling inside, peaks rippling tub like avalanches. Anniversary 5 shimmered, vow renewal intimate, Central Park Boathouse, Riley ring bearer in velvet. Vows heartfelt. From naive glances to knowing depths, eternally yours. Feast followed, toasts tear-tinged, nights sealed and sweet, roses strewn, her blindfolding with veil, ice-trailed body before mouth followed, chills melting to fire, strap later binding us in missionary gaze, climaxes whispered oaths. Spring's thaw included thaw of old feuds, Marcus's apology letter, prison-forged remorse. Elena burned it unread, but I urged reply, Grace's power. Watched him fall, now rise. Her nod reluctant, closure penned. Summer sailed smooth. Beach weeks, Riley's sandcastles, Elena's novels poolside, my lotions applied slow, hands lingering to part bikini, fingers sun-warmed delving, her sunglass stare holding as she peeked discreet. Year's end circled complete. Riley's recitals, claps thunderous. Alex's engagement, rings sparkling. Through vigils and victories, our watch evolved, protective to empowering, love's narrative not plot twists, but steady prose, pages turned hand in hand. Year 6 unfolded like a well-worn novel, pages dog-eared with familiarity, yet fresh with footnotes of growth. Riley, now a whirlwind of 4, orchestrated family meetings at the breakfast bar, agenda, cookie distribution, and bedtime vetoes. Elena, her captive audience, debated gravely. But chocolate chips undermine authority. Before conceding with a wink, scooping our daughter for airplane spins that left me breathless with laughter. These rituals grounded us amid the firm's relentless tide, international expansions yielding Tokyo outposts, Elena's keynotes in fractured English drawing crowds. I'd join virtually, Riley doodling on my lap, her tiny fist waving at the screen. Hi, Mama E's fans. Post-call, Elena's texts purred. Miss your chaos. Home soon, pack the silk. Distance tested, but tech bridged. Video trysts, her hotel dim, voice husky over pixels as she directed my touch. Lower, love, show me. Climaxes synced across time zones, gasps echoing laggy but real. Return flights landed in arms frenzy. Airport bathrooms for quick reunions, stall walls witnessing her fingers hike skirt urgent, my bite on collar muffling release. Home, fuller feasts, Strap nights experimental, positions from Kama Sutra flips, her flexibility a revelation, laughter mingling with moans as we toppled tangled. Alex's wedding brewed joy, June garden affair, Mia radiant in lace, our aisle walk with Riley strewing petals awry. Elena's matron speech wove wit and wisdom. Love's not spotlight, it's the steady glow beside. Tears flowed. Reception dances twirled us all. Elena pulling me to gazebo shadows. Waltz slowing to grind. Hands under skirt circling clit. Her whisper later. A promise kept in bridal suite guest crash. Door locked. Her on knees devouring. Then me reciprocating. 69 symphony till exhaustion claimed. Firm zenith crested. Forbes cover. Power lesbians reshape marketing. Our twosome profiled raw, from intern intrigue to empire duo. Backlash barked. Trolls online, conservative outlets sneering but allies amplified. Stock surged. Elena framed the mag on desk, but privately fretted. Spotlight blinds. I soothed with spa escapes. Couples massages straying solo post. Steamy rooms. Her oiled body pressed mine. Therapist gone. Fingers and tongues exploring till peaks echoed tiled walls. Riley's kindergarten leap loomed, applications fierce, diversity essays penning our tales sans spice. Open house days, her hand in Elena's questions bold. Do you kiss girls here? Teachers chuckled. We exhaled. First day teared us. Backpack slung. Waves brave. Pickup hugs mended. Afternoons playground pivots to park benches. Elena's head on shoulder. Decompressing mergers. You're my reset, she'd say. Hand thigh high. Strokes discreet sparking homeward heat. Fall's palette painted crises. Foundation audit uncovering graft. Donor funds siphoned by a director. Elena's rage glacial. Investigation swift. Confrontation boardroom. Her dissection surgical. Culprit crumbling. Fallout cleansed, but trust scarred. She leaned heavier, nights entwined, my body her fortress. Spooned deep, strap optional, slow rocks lulling to sleep-peaked sighs. Holiday circuit sparkled. Thanksgiving with Alex's in-laws, toasts bridging worlds, Hanukkah lights with Mia's family, lax and lessons. Christmas Eve, Riley's letter to Santa bartered toys for world peace, Elena's note replying, working on it, kiddo. Midnight mass skipped for hearthside, stocking stuffed, her gifting custom watch engraved, always watching loving. Reciprocated with weekend getaway voucher, dawn unwrapped in bed, her mouth gift on me, unwrapping layers to core's delight. Winter waned with wonders, Riley's snowman empires, Elena's rare sick day, flew downed her, my nursing tender, soup spooned, baths drawn. Vulnerability flipped roles, her propped pillows me straddling, grinding gentle, her hands on bump, phantom now but memory, peaks soft as fevers break. Anniversary 6 gilded, vow renewal yacht, Hudson sunset sail, Riley captain in life jacket, vows sea salted, tides pull, but we anchor. Feast followed, waves lulling, cabin below deck sealed, hammock sway, her bound wrists to beam, teasing feathers to frenzy, then release with tongue lavish, my turn yielding to strap's command, rolls pitching us to ecstasy's crest. Spring's vigor verdant, lab incubator birth startups, queer-led ventures funded. Elena mentored, her cold myth legend now. Riley's recitals, pirouettes proud. Alex's pregnancy announce, niece/nephew en route, family fractal expanding. Summer Solstice Summit, Global Confab, our panel Love as Leadership. Q&A raw, questions on balance, our glances speaking volumes. Afterparty abroad, Tokyo Neon, karaoke croons off-key leading to Ryokan Tryst, tatami mats, her yukata parted, fingers and mouth in lantern glow, peaks hushed respectful. Years close canopied contentment, Riley's bedtime tales co-authored, Elena's illustrations whimsical. Through vigils evolved, love's watch a compass, pointing not peril, but paradise shared, stories scripted in sync.